Something they will try to do. Wing back to the left, split end to the right, split backfield. The tight end is on the left. Quick pitch it to Henderson. Romine knocks him down along with 63 on the play. That is Brian Valenzuela. Second down for the Rice Raiders. A gain of 1. 2nd and 9 for Rice. 7-0 our score. 8:40 left to go. First half of play. Schulenburg leading. They scored on their initial drive. Sarton to mark, an 8-yard pass. Schromick out of the PAT. But since then, the Horns have gotten within inside the 10 twice and have not been able to score. The Rice Raider defense has been tough. 2nd and 9. Thomas wants to pass. Has it almost intercepted. Sarton almost picked that one off. And Jeff, had he did, he may have walked into the end zone.
Smooth sailing. There wasn't a soul in front of him. He had an open lane all the way to the end zone.
It appeared as though Sarton was playing a little I Spy back there, and he just kind of snuck up on the quick post or the quick pass, and almost picked that one off.
Stevens a real smart player back there. He's going to read the eyes of the quarterback, and he'll make a lot of great plays before this year's out.
Well, defense being called upon again. 3rd down and 8 for the Rice Raiders with a split backfield deep in their own territory. A tight end is to the right, and they will run it to the right. Henderson, not much there. Romine hit him. Ginnard hit him. And it goes to the 16, a very short gain. A gain of 1. 4th and long, and Mahalik will be called upon to punt it again. Well, the defense is doing a good job this week, Jeff, of 3 and out, 4 and out, doing a super job.
I think we're going to be known as a run defense. It showed last week and going into this week that there's not a lot of teams going to have a lot of success run. There's going to be plays where you break down. We got to capitalize on when we get the ball on this side of the field. We can't continue to stall inside the 10. Things can turn around real quick.
A timeout is being called on the field as Rice is set to punt. Tell you about some of our fine sponsors making it all possible to bring you this action every Tuesday night. Casper's Department Store, clothing and shoes for the family. Frank Supplies, Schwenke Baumgarten Funeral Home, Mark, Brian, and Bill Clazel. Schulenburg Glass, Mike and Phyllis Yuritsa. Schaller Engineering, Wilburn Petroleum, Hillbank and Trust Company in Weimar. Watzlawick Clinic and Pharmacy, Mr. B Fireworks. Tom Vargas says, we'll give you more bang for your bucks. Holas Duncan Insurance Agency, Hugo Holas in Schulenburg. Carl Duncan in Weimar. Frank's Restaurant. Management and personnel say, good luck, Horns. They've got 65 years of superior food and service. IH-10 Highway 77 in Schulenburg. Chuck Brown Ford, Double B Foods Incorporated. Bubba and Karen Deegan, Tom Blancett, and Eugene and Dorothy Holas. We've got 7:37 away from half. Coming up at half, we will feature the Shorthorn Band, bells and twirlers, and also we'll tell you about some of the things going on in the Schulenburg Independent School District with the various athletic programs. Once again, the girls program's doing some a good job. As always, we'll be telling you about that during the halftime show, and Jeff will have some stats for you as always. We invite you to join us each and every week here on Channel 16 at Tuesday night, of course, at 7 o'clock. You've got Monday night football and, of course, Tuesday night football with the Shorthorns.
With the Raiders playing as well as they are tonight, I think the Shorthorns are a little bit shocked and hopefully on their part a little bit flat from last week. They need to tune it up pretty quick.
Jeff, that's something you and I talked about, is the emotions of the Horns. How flat would they be coming into this one? A low snap. Shorthorns have a chance to make a play. The punt is blocked. And it's going to go out of bounds, and now they're going to call a flag. The punt appeared to have been blocked. A flag is down. And let's see the call. That's going to be a call that will be questioned if it goes against the Horns, because, Jeff, it appears as though we had a block.
Well, I don't know if he's going to call running into the kicker, but he got a part of the ball. I don't understand the call.
Well, the running into the kicker would only be a 5-yard penalty. But it appeared as though the Shorthorns got to the ball. It would have been their second block of the night. It appeared as though they got to the ball and got the ball.
Well, it shanked off the side, so I guess that's why he called just a 5-yarder. But to the best of my knowledge, when you touch the ball, it waves off all penalties.
That's what I understand. That's the way we used to always play. Nonetheless, it will be still 4th down. Now Romine will have to sprint off the field, and he does. Looking for another good snap. That's a low snap. This time Mahalik hits a boomer. Bezetsny at the 38, comes up the field 40, and is hit right down there and not down. A gain or a punt return of about 11 yards. A punt of 43 yards. So a good punt and a return of 11 yards for Bezetsny. Shorthorns once again will set up in very good field position at about the 47.5-yard line. 7:18 left. Shorthorns scored on their initial possession. And, of course, Sarton to mark on the 8-yard pass. But since then, they have been stopped twice inside the 10-yard line on 2 different possessions. First down 10. Sarton wants to pass. Has a man. Looking, Jackson is open now. Sarton wants to run. He's in jail, and he's dropped for a loss. Jamie Jackson appeared to be streaking across the middle, appeared to have been open, but Stephen running the opposite way never saw him, and that's going to be a big sack. A loss of about 8. Call it 8. 2nd and 18. First sack of the night against Stephen Sarton. Second down and a long 17. Call it 18 yards. Ball is at the 41-yard line. Houston not in the ball game at this point. It's Wright and Raines. Second down and long. Sarton throws the hitch to Adams. Needs a block from Segura. Got it. Adams cuts up midfield. Still on his feet. 45 digging. Nice play. Segura got out here and got the block, and that freed Adams to go inside.
That was the play that we had a while ago, the exact same play. If it would have worked, we'd have walked in the end zone, I believe, a while ago. That shows you what happens when it works right.
Now they're going to instead of going across the 45 to the 43, they're going to say that Adams may have touched his knee back to the 46-yard line. That's a difference of 3 yards, Jeff. And instead of 3rd and short, it's now 3rd and crucial, 3rd and 5.
That looks like a mighty questionable spot right there. I'm not too sure that his knee was on the ground.
3rd down and 5 for the Horns. Split backfield, Raines and Wright. 2 splits to the right. Mark is the tight end left. Sarton back to pass, in trouble. Throws it to Mark, and it's caught for a first down. What a catch by Kevin Mark. As Mark leaps out and makes the grab at the 25-yard line. That's going to be a gain of 21 yards. Mark with a big catch. Jeff, I was just going to say before he called the play, watch for Mark to release out into the middle because they're not lining up on him.
Well, they're looking to contain our speed on the outside. If we can utilize that tight end across the middle, make those safeties and corners come in and worry about that. That'll open up the outside game possibly.
1st and 10 Horns. Ball at the 25-yard line. Sarton with 2 splits to the right. He'll drop. No, give it to Wright on the draw, and he slipped. Wright was tripped up at the line by Heath Mahaltic, and it's a no gain. He may have had some running room up the middle.
Well, you alluded to earlier, this turf is real soft, and I think this Bermuda grass is going to hold a little more moisture. Hoosman might want to talk a little bit about the footing, maybe something different with the shoes. I don't know.
You can see the moisture on the field starting to come up as we get later in the evening with the lights shining down. 2nd down and 9 for Schulenburg. Sarton to pass. Has Jamie Jackson. Gets away from one and then gets knocked down and stays in bounds. Knocked down by Garrett Hagendorf. A gain of 5, and it's now 3rd and 4. Drive alive for the Horns. A ball at the 20-yard line. Another penetration. Shorthorns' 4th penetration of the night, Jeff, but they only have 7 points to show for it.
Well, you have to credit Rice's defense. They're sticking it to them when they need to. They're not allowing the big play. They're giving them short gains, but nothing big.
This is big for the Horns. 3rd and 5. 4 minutes left to go. First half of play. Ball at the Rice Raider 25. Starting back to pass. Has a man. It's caught. Still on his feet is Adams. Adams inside the 10. Call it the 6. And a gain of 14. A crucial pass and catch by Adams.
Coach Brown was talking earlier, Stephen needs to have a big game. He was kind of the odd man out last week. Everybody got their share of the passes. Stephen wasn't involved a lot. He needs to have a big game this week for the Horns, get his confidence back up.
Well, the young man made a big catch right there. Stephen Adams, 160-pound junior. First and goal now from the 6 for the Shorthorns, a gain of 14. And the Horns on the march. Rains and right in the backfield. Split to either side. Tight end to the left. Turn, give it David Rains. Gets up for one. Still on his feet with a Rice Raider on his back. David Rains across the 5 to about the 3-yard line. A gain of 3. It's going to be a gain of 3 for Rains, and it's now second and goal from the 3-yard line. The clock is at 3:10 to go and moving. Adams will split out to the right side, and now a timeout is taken by the Rice Raiders with 3:06 left in the first half of play. Tonight's broadcast being brought to you by Diamond S Restaurant, Foxfire Builders, that's J.O. Renner, 10th Frame Bowling, Autobahn Travel Shop, IMCO, Ken and Sherry Banks owners say good luck, Horns and Lady Horns, Krumchick Wagner Insurance Agency, Kelly and Doris Sarton, Schulenburg Livestock Auction Incorporated, Zimmerman's Garage, Vernon and Fawn Zimmerman owners, Schulenburg Printing and Office Supplies and Sports Specialties, the Prosky families, and Dan and Jill Tabor. Stay tuned. At halftime, we'll be telling you about the activities coming up. A very big week this week in Schulenburg. It's homecoming. Friday night, the Horns will host the Manor Mustangs, and it's homecoming 1994. As you watch this game on Tuesday evening, prepare yourself for a big night at Shorthorns Stadium with the homecoming events, and of course the battle with a former district opponent, the Manor Mustangs. Here it's 3:06 left in the first half, 7-0 Schulenburg. They're on the drive, second and goal.
Back to that homecoming, the last district game Schulenburg lost was to Manor back in '89, and they went on to beat them in the quarterfinals at Alamo Stadium that same year.
And that was despite the Groveton game, in spite of the Groveton game at A&M, when it was 21 below with the wind chill factor. The game against Manor was about as cold.
Exactly. I listened to the Manor coach before that, and he did not want to play Schulenburg on AstroTurf. He knew he'd seen an orange blur running by.
And he did that night as the Horns rolled over the Mustangs and on their way to a semifinal berth. And the rivalry will be continued this Friday night. It's homecoming, so big night for the Horns. Come out and join us for all the action. Here's Schulenburg trying to add 6 more to the board. Second and 4 from the 4. Turn, give it to right. Still on his feet, lunges, plunges, and going to be stopped short. Just shy of the goal line at the 3, at the gain of 3 to the 1. And now it's third down and a goal from about the 1. Sarton may call his own number. And now we're going to have another official timeout. And this is Schulenburg Shorthorn football. Bradley Wright, the injured Shorthorn, now see him running to the sideline. He's okay after a visit. Now Barry Shepard will come in. And once again, we have not seen Jason Houston on this possession.
I think he's real conservative about his hamstring. They're not going to use Jason unless they have to, possibly.
And it may have tightened up with this night air. You never know. Third and goal from the 1-yard line. Sarton calls his own number. He has stood up at the line. It's a touchdown! There's the call, 6 on the board. We waited for the call from the officials, and the Horns cash in with 2:30 left in the first half on a 1-yard sneak by Sarton, Jeff, and it took them a while to make the call, but the 6 points are on the board.
Well, you got a lot of wide bodies on that line down there. I guess he plugged up the hole where the referees couldn't even see it. He was going to make sure of his call. That's the last thing you want to do is make the call. We had it happen in a bi-district game. I remember one time a rush call was made, and it was the wrong call. He did the right thing of taking his time, making sure of what he saw, and then make the correct call.
Schromick will be aboard to try to add the extra point. The Horns in the swinging gate. Sarton is the holder. Looking for a good snap. There's the snap, the spot, the kick is no good. Schromick hooked it to the left. So with 2.5 minutes left to go in our first half of play, our score now reads the Schulenburg Shorthorns 13 and the Rice Raiders This is Schulenburg Shorthorn football. So the Schulenburg Shorthorns lead it 13-0. Tonight's ball game being brought to you in part by Diamond S Restaurant, Foxfire's J.O. Renner, 10th Frame Bowling Alley, Audubon Travel Shop, IMCO, Ken and Sherry Banks owners, Kremchek Wagner Insurance Agency, Kelly and Doris Sarton, Schulenburg Livestock Auction Incorporated, Zimmerman's Garage, Vernon and Fallen Zimmerman owners, Schulenburg Printing and Office Supplies and Sports Specialties, the Proschke families, and Dan and Jill Tabor. So the Horns finally cash it in, Jeff, and lead 13-0.
A nice momentum builder there. You need to, you wanted to get that in before halftime there. Now you need to stop them and don't let them have any momentum going into the half.
Schramek with the kick, hits it about the 20. Nice bounce to the 10. Fumbled around, now picked up by Cotton. He's in jail. Romine says, see you later. Also, Ginnert. Ginnert made the big hit first, and Romine was there to finish him off, and that's the special teams that we've come accustomed to know with the Schulenburg Shorthorns.
With Godley out back there, they're going to have a lot of problems with their speed and their quickness in the offensive backfield. He's still sitting on the bench, and it looks doubtful he's going to return tonight.
Along with Butriago, who's a key part of their defensive and offensive lines. 2:23 left before half. We'll feature the Shorthorn Bells and the Schulenburg Shorthorn Band and Twirlers and tell you about some activities at Schulenburg Highs. Coming up at halftime, stay with us. Thomas, the man under for the Rice Raiders. They trail by 13 points. Handed off the middle. Henderson nowhere. And Schulenburg has their 3 timeouts. They're going to take one right here. That's a great call because Coach Huesman knows that his team can score at any time. Last week, of course, they had 3 plays, 3 touchdowns at one point of the game, so he wants the ball back.
Well, Rice having the ball deep in their own territory, I don't know if they're going to take the chance on throwing the ball and making a mistake deep in their own territory. They might try to grind out what they can, punt the ball, and try to get Schulenburg pinned back as far as they can to make them drive a little further. A little mistake here, and they're right on the front door.
Well, if Schulenburg would get the ball back, we could see that short passing game being worked on. Quick outs, catching 5, 10, 12 yards, stepping out of bounds. That's something that Coach Huesman has wanted to work on tonight, and that we may be able to see that here before the end of the first half.
I think that's what he's been working on all week. With that short end of the field there, we've had some excellent possession receivers. It'd be a perfect time to use it, those fade patterns in the end zone, starting just to get a little bit of time just to air it up. We have some good height and some good athletes out there. Good things can happen.
It's a second down and 10 coming for the Rice Raiders. Tonight's broadcast on Crown Cablevision Channel 16 brought to you by Baumgarten Matula, Bruce and Cindy Bozo, 3D Belt Company, Steve and Sharice Dees, backing the Horns and Lady Horns, Charles and Gail Bach, Oak Ridge Smokehouse Restaurant, Robert Pham and Narissa Bezetsny, Tom and Dolores Sanders, Gallup Supermarket, Leo Stop and Shop, Leo's Sheer Genius, and upstairs at the downstairs, Mayor Leo Kopetsky, Davian and Kenny, The Record Rack, Barry and Melissa Shepard, Carrie and Laurie Bauer, Jean, Barbara and Christine Gittert, and Royce and Jeanette Hujay. 2:17 remaining, first half. Horns on defense. The defense has been outstanding, as we knew that they would be, hoping they would be coming into the game. The 15 yards rushing, according to Jeff Proschke, and he'll tell you about all the stats coming up at the half. Thomas rolls in traffic and knocked down. Henderson doesn't get very much. Initial hit made by Sam Brown, and then it is Romine. And another timeout being called by Schulenburg with 2:11 left. Tell you about some of the activities that have been going on in the Schulenburg School District. On Saturday, September 3rd, the Lady Horns travel to Belleville for a doubleheader against Belleville and Mejia. Of course, Belleville, the Brahminettes, state champions in volleyball 3 out of the last 4 years. I had the pleasure of being able to broadcast their games and cover their games for those years. Always a tough opponent. Mejia is as well. And Schulenburg lost in 2 games to the Brahminettes, 1-15, 12-15. And battling for a victory against the Lady Horns were 3A Mejia. Scores 15-13, 6-15, and 15-13. And both matches were played with numerous girls injured or out due to injuries or various reasons. Navasota was the side of the next match last Tuesday night. All 3 teams dominated the gym in 2 games each. Freshmen won 15-2, 15-10. They had all 16 girls were able to see action. The entire JV contributed to their victory, 15-2, 15-1. And varsity was victorious, scores of 15-6, 15-2. Lady Horns freshman tournament. Schulenburg won that event. Flatonia second. Weimer was third. So that's the activities from the Schulenburg Shorthorns and the Lady Horns. Good job by the Lady Horn volleyball team. Don't forget homecoming Friday night at Shorthorn Stadium. The homecoming game against the Manor Mustangs. That's coming up just a few nights on Friday night at Shorthorn Stadium. The Shorthorns will play Manor, travel to Yoakum, and then have a Saturday game against Class 4A Wheatley before opening up the district season.
After the homecoming game, they're going to be holding a homecoming dance at the American Legion Hall for $3 a head. Everybody's invited. I hope y'all to see y'all there.
That's Friday night. Coming up this Friday night, homecoming activities for the Schulenburg Shorthorns. Rice Raiders will end their district season Friday night as they go on the road for the first time against Van Vleck. That is this coming Friday night. So here's another big play, 3rd down and 12 for the Raiders. 2:11 left in the first half. A full house backfield, 3 people in the backfield for Rice. They call timeout, but Jeff, they don't have any left.
The best of my understanding, they didn't have any left either. I don't understand whether maybe they do.
I thought they called their last one trying to stop the Shorthorns earlier. So that is the final timeout for the Rice Raiders. This has been a long period of time where the defense hasn't been able to get very active. They would need to maybe jog a little bit so they can to stay loose. The Shorthorn Bells are lined up at from the 45 to the 45 as they get prepared to perform here at halftime. And down on the right sideline, we have the Schulenburg Shorthorn Band and the Twirling Unit. They are also going to perform at halftime. The drum majors, Chantel Ferre and Chris Vonacek. Twirlers, Brittany Ginn, Tiffany Ginn, Crystal Deringer, and Jennifer Molenbrand. The band director is Joe Mitchell. 3rd down and 12 for the Rice Raiders as once again we try to get this 3rd down play underway. It is 3rd down. A offset eye. Wanting to throw. Thomas is in traffic and he's going to throw up a prayer. And it's incomplete. What a super effort by Joseph Moore. Jeff, he did all he could to prevent that and all he could except intercept it.
Well, the coverage was excellent. You have to give a lot of credit to that quarterback. He was running for his life in that end zone. He made a long throw going across his body. An excellent play by the defensive backfield. They were looking for something long. They were gonna. I didn't quite expect them to pass, but it was a nice surprise, and it almost worked. But it was a nice defensive play by Joseph.
Schulenburg should get the ball back in great field position with just under 2 minutes left. The clock is stopped at 2:02. Mahalik has had his problems punting tonight. And back is Bezetsny at his own 40 at the Raider 45. This could be a big series for the Horns if they can get the ball in good possession. Flags go down. The punt is a short one. Hits at the 35 and is going to roll. Picked up by Bezetsny and then knocked down and out of bounds. We'll hold everything. Laundry on the field. And let's see what the play is going to. That was dropped right away. We have see what the call is going to be. And if it's not a personal foul, it's not enough for a first down. Too many men on the field against the Rice Raiders. Schulenburg may want to, I don't know if you want to decline this here, make him punt again, or take the ball there, or take the penalty and maybe try to get a block.
Well, 2 ways you look at it. You got 10 seconds ran off the clock. Do you want to take a chance to take more time off? You've got the ball at the 38, 39-yard line. That's fairly good field position. Looks like Houston's going to take the punt and go from there and get as much time as he can on the clock.
The question was answered for us as the Shorthorns will take the football at the 39-yard line with plenty of time. 1:52 left in the first half. Schulenburg trying to add to their 13-0 lead here before we break for halftime. Schulenburg lost the opening toss, so if they can score here, Jeff, get the opening kickoff the second half and punch in 7, it could be a good night nurse for the Rice Raiders. However, Rice was down 18-0 last Friday night against Weimar. Came back and almost won the ball game and lost it 24-21. Split to the left is Bezetsny. Split to the right is Jamie Jackson. Sarton wants to throw. Jackson is wide open. Caught at the 35. Makes a move. Shake and bake. 25. What a move by Jamie Jackson. Up to the 15-yard line. Shake and bake. Leave you standing shoeless. It's Jamie Jackson. From the 39 all the way up to the 16-yard line. A gain of 26. 23 yards. Yeah, 39 of the 16. No huddle for the Horns. They want to run here with 1:43 left. Stick the chains. Let's play football. The clock is rolling. Sarton looking at a possible blitz. Very hard count. Look and throw. And caught by Bezetsny and down at the 8-yard line. Nice catch by Kurt Bezetsny. A second down coming for the Horns. That's going to be a gain of 7. Second down and 3 for the Horns. Inside the 10. Looking to score again. Schulenburg leads 13-0 with 1:10 left to go in the first half. Here comes a blitz. Sarton rolls to his right. Has time. Gets away from a man. Throws his wide open. Touchdown! Incomplete. Dropped the football. Marek had it and dropped it. I counted the chickens before it hatched. Mark wide alone. We saw a touchdown on the first drive, and he just couldn't hold on to it.
Looks like he tried to use his chest to catch a ball when he should have put his hands in front. A similar instance happened this week with LSU and A&M. A nice pass, a nice move by Stephen to avoid the rush. He made a nice sidestep to avoid a hard rush. We're looking at 3rd down and 4. We're still in pretty good, decent shape here. A lot of time on the clock.
Yeah, one thing good, the clock does stop to get you a chance to regain the composure. 3rd down and 3 for the Horns. They can pick up a first down without scoring. Sarton to pass. Look at the fade. Jackson! See ya! Touchdown! Jamie Jackson! Jackson for 6. That's going to be an 8-yard touchdown pass. Jackson's 3rd TD of the year. And it's a nice pass from Sarton. There's the fade you were talking about. Just throw it up and let him catch it.
Jamie's an excellent athlete. He's got excellent leaping ability. We need to use he's got a short cornerback over there he's facing. We need to utilize that height and Stephen's fine arm and make that play. It's a beautiful play when it works.
The quick fade for the Horns results in the touchdown. And now the Horns will call timeout with 1:03 left on the clock. And they may want to go for 2, leading at 19-0. Jeff, that's what we talked about. Schulenburg stopped the clock. They scored, they went 39 yards in 49 seconds. And that's what you want to have.
Well, looking at Rice's sideline, they don't look to have a lot of depth. Some of their key players are getting banged up and sitting on the bench. That possibly is having an effect on them. The big men we have on the line are pretty punishing linemen, and that may be taking the toll on Rice. And we'll see what happens in the second half. That halftime sitting and getting a little tight might take its toll on Rice. We need to step up the intensity. It looks like they're starting to gain a little more composure, the Shorthorns. A little slow start is probably to be expected from last week.
Well, no doubt about it. Who expects them to jump out to a 40-point lead at the half as they did last week? Second touchdown pass of the night for Stephen Sarton. Both have been from 8 yards out, one to Mark and now to Jamie Jackson on the quick fade route. And Jackson was no way he was going to let that ball get to the turf as he hauled it in and hit the pylon for 6. We have 1:03 remaining in the first half. Shorthorn Band coming up. We'll feature them as part of our halftime activities. So the Horns appears though they will go for the 2 points. Sarton now 9 of 13 for 110 yards, including 2 touchdown passes. It's David Raines and Bradley Wright in the backfield with Sarton. They will roll, looking, in traffic, throws up a prayer, in and out of the hands, and it's no good. So the 2-point conversion is no good, and the Shorthorns will settle for a 19-0 lead. We have 1:03 left in the first half. This is Schulenburg Shorthorn football. Tonight's broadcast on Channel 16 being brought to you in part by Casper's Department Store. Clothing and shoes for the family. Frank Supplies, Frankie Baumgarten Funeral Home, Mark Bryan and Bill Clazel. Schulenburg Glass, Mike and Phyllis Yaritza. Schaller Engineering, Wellburn Petroleum, Hill Bank and Trust Company, serving your local area for 100 years. Waslavic Clinic and Pharmacy, and Mr. B Fireworks. Tom Vargas says we'll give you more bang for your buck. Shorthorns have the big bang right now. They're up 19-0. We've got 1:03 left before halftime. Schromick will kick it away. Nice kick down the middle of the field. Taken by Cotton at the 10. 15, 20. Looks outside. Bezetsny and Aiding wrap him up. And it's going to be Eric Aiding riding him to the ground at about the 23-yard line. Bezetsny and Aiding on the play. Every time the Raiders, Jeff, have had the football on the kickoff return, the ones that they've returned, they've come up the middle and then veered off to the right.
Looks like their line breaks down in the middle, and they're just looking for anything open. And Schulenburg crowds the middle is going to push them out. You got the sideline as your ally. Use that. Don't let him break. You're going to get all your momentum breaking up the middle. You want to try to make him get the angle on him and run outside.
So it'll bring up first down and 10 for the Rice Raiders with 55 seconds left in the first half. Split backfield. Thomas will keep it up to the 32-yard line. Aiding with the tackle. It's going to be a gain of 8 for Charlon Thomas. He was a questionable starter. We were told by Coach Dennis Jackson that he would not start tonight, but he's been there every offensive play.
Maybe that might have been a ploy to get everybody's mind off of him, but it was a real puzzle to both of us that he wasn't starting. He's been a 3-year starter. That would have been a real tragedy to not see him out here tonight.
Especially against the number 1 ranked team in the state. 18 seconds left. Horns are coming, Romine. Here's a prayer. It's going to be way out of bounds and incomplete. Romine with a big rush on Thomas, and he read the play. There's no doubt that Tyson Romine read the play.
It was a questionable call there. It looked like it could have been. He just tried to unload that ball to get away from the sack. The man was 15 yards up the field, not even close to that pattern. I guess the referee took the benefit of the doubt and gave him that benefit.
Intended receiver, that girl in the 4th row up there. 3rd and 2 for the Horns, or for the Horn defense, with 11 seconds left in the first half. Schulenburg up 19-0. Thomas, the man under, barking the signals. Wide gaps from the offensive line. Thomas will keep her. 35, 40. Keep him in bounds. They don't. Knocked him out of bounds as Bozel with the tackle. Adam Bozel. It's going to be up to the 39-yard line. A first down with 6 seconds remaining. 6 seconds left in the first half. Don't forget at halftime, Schulenburg Shorthorn Band and Bells performing for your pleasure. We'll have it all for you here, so stay with us. Jeff Prosky will have some stats. So that's all coming up here in just a few minutes at the half. Schulenburg on top, 19-0, with just 6 seconds remaining in the first half. Rice could be down to their final play of the first 24 minutes. But before they do, they got too much time on the play. And that's going to be a delay of game. A penalty mark off of 5. And it'll be first down and 15.
That's one of the rare penalties we've had this first half. If I'm not mistaken, has Schulenburg been penalized yet?
Maybe one time. I think one time on the punt. On the running into the kicker.
On the running of the kicker. I'm mistaken, but I think Rice has had a couple holdings, if I'm not mistaken. But it's been a fairly clean half.
Surely has. We're almost to the end of it with just 6 seconds left on the clock. Thomas will drop back. He'll try to air this one out. Gets smashed as he does. Throws it, and it's incomplete. And that's the end of the first half. Intended receiver was Jesse Bishop. So the Shorthorns will take a 19-0 lead into the locker room at the half as we now look down on the field and get set for a performance from the Schulenburg Shorthorn Band. And that's coming up here. This is Schulenburg Shorthorn football. 1:03 left in the half from the Jackson 8-yard touchdown reception. What do you think Schulenburg will try to change offensively and defensively to start the second half?
Well, defensively, I don't know if there's a whole lot you want to change. I think everything was rolling the way Coach Hoosman would like to see it. Brad Oden does a fine job with the defense. Offensively, being they're not using Houston a whole lot, maybe he's going to work on his passing game a little bit more this week. Bradley Wright, maybe he just had the wind knocked out of him one time, or maybe a slight ankle twist. But I'm sure he's going to touch the ball a lot. You want to try to get through these preseason games without getting anybody hurt. He does a fine job of mixing his plays, keeping the defense off balance. I don't see him doing a lot of changes. He's going to, like I said, I think he's going to try to get Adams more involved in the game with some receptions. But he's spreading the ball. Sarton's having another fine game with over 100 yards already in the first half. If you can keep a balanced attack in a 2A team, that's a tough way to defend anybody. A balanced attack will take you a long way in the playoffs.
Rice Raiders in a similar situation last week. They trailed Weimar 18-0 at the half, came back to lead 21-18 before Weimar put them away late in the game to win it 24-21. But of course, Weimar and Schulenburg, two different types of ball clubs. Do you think Rice has the firepower to shut the Horns down and then get something going offensively?
Well, being that it's in their stadium, they're going to have a little momentum with the crowd behind them. But honestly, I don't. With Schulenburg's defense shutting down the run that way, they're going to have to rely on the pass, and I don't think Schulenburg's going to give up the big play. Hoosman's philosophy earlier in the year was, we're going to give up that quick pass, the 5 or 10 yard hitch, but we're going to bend but not break and try not to give the big play. That's been his philosophy. The linebackers are excellent pursuit players. They keep the middle closed down, running and passing over the middle. I don't see them having this. Weimar is an explosive team. They're going to explode you with big plays, kickoff returns, punt returns, and so on. They have a few players with some excellent speed, and they're going to rely on the big play. I don't know if you're going to see a lot of long, sustained drives with Weimar as you're going to see with our offense. They're going to wear Rice down with Rice doesn't have a lot of players on the field, on the sidelines there. It's going to hurt them. During the fourth quarter, which generally is Schulenburg's quarter, they wear you down, and their conditioning pays off. And hopefully we'll see the results of a strong two-a-day workout, and hopefully we'll pull away by the fourth quarter.
Shorthorns have a good jump start. They lead 19-0 as we start our second half. Tonight's rebroadcast brought to you by Holas Duncan Insurance Agency. Hugo Holas in Schulenburg, Carl Duncan in Weimar. Frank's Restaurant management and personnel say good luck, Horns. 65 years of superior food at IH-10 and Highway 77 in Schulenburg. Chuck Brown Ford, Double B Foods Incorporated. Bubba and Karen Deegan, Don